Recently, I met Harish Iyer. Now, we have seen Harish Iyer on Satyamev Jayate. Now, when I met him, I said, wow, for the first time, I'm meeting someone who was invited in Satyamev Jayate, because I love that program. Now, Harish Iyer is an activist, we all know, and he's an activist for a number of causes. But most of us know Harish Iyer because of the kind of work or the amount of work he has done in protecting and promoting rights of LGBT. We all know that. So I met him in IIT Kharagpur. There was a conference there, so I was invited to speak, and I was quite surprised. Unfortunately, I didn't see the speaker list, but when I saw him, I said, "Wow, I'm going to share stage with him." And I said, "Sir, I'm super excited to listen to your story." Now, any storyteller, we need stories. We love to listen to stories. But I never thought, after listening to his story, I will learn something so significant. So he started his story on the stage. Now, many of us who have read about him, we know he's a victim of child abuse. He said, when I was 7 years old, I was raped by my uncle for the first time. And this started when I was 7, but it didn't end for years. I suffered this almost for 10 years till he was 18. And he shared some moments, some painful moments. Like he said, initially only uncle was there, but then slowly he started bringing even other people to his home. And when he used to go to school, even walking few steps was very painful, and he used to walk a little differently because of the pain, and he used to keep cotton behind just to ensure that the blood is not coming out. Now it's painful, I understand this is painful. Even when we were listening to this, it was, oh my god, this is so painful. But there is something else which I have learned that day, and which he said towards the end of the story. He said, why I'm sharing this story again and again. You have heard this story in Satyamev Jayate. Many of you have read about this story somewhere in blogs or in newspaper. Why I'm sharing this story again and again. Even he said that my friends say this, ki, Harish, why are you sharing this story again and again? And he said, this is the reason why I'm sharing this story again and again. He said, when I was a child, I went to my mom and I said, Mom, this is happening with me. And my mom said, is it? I never heard something like this in my life. And mom was true. Because we have never seen a male abusing a male. We have seen male abusing women, or maybe women abusing men. But we have not seen a man abusing men. That's not in our culture. We have not read about it. We have not seen in movies. And our mom said, son, I've never heard something like this before. And he said, the only reason I'm sharing this story, because if today any child goes to his mom and say this, his mom should not say this, that I have never heard something like this. She should have heard my story. Now that was so powerful. I always used to think that, okay, storyteller is not important. Stories are important, but that day, after listening to this, I learned that there's something more important than story and storyteller, and that is the purpose of telling your story. I learned that was his purpose of telling his story, that a mom should not say that I've never heard something like this. She should have heard my story. That was so powerful. It took me time to understand it, and I started searching on internet about child male abuse, and I've just recently I read one article. I must share that article with you. And even I was surprised. This article is, by the way, published in Indian Journal of Psychiatry. Now, I'm a pharmacist. I know this is a reputed journal. And they said the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare, they did a survey and they found 53.22% children faced one or more forms of sexual abuse. Among them, the number of boys abused was 52.94%. It's huge. As a storyteller, I learned something very significant that day, which I thought I must share with you, and that is this. Whenever you share story on the stage, story is not important. Storyteller is not important. What is important is what is the purpose of telling that story to the world. This is Praveen Wadaka signing out until we meet again with a new story.